So, Mike, you're, I guess, just sitting at the firehouse or whatever, just chillaxing.
Yep.
If we hear a siren go off, let's hope.
Yeah.
I don't want to Jeez. We don't want a death on the podcast live. That'd be horrible.
That's
You're like,
so OG.
You're like fighting off the fires while you're still talking and like ranting about something.
Dude, that would
I'll be like,
You're like, Skyward Sword is the worst piece of crap. Hold on, I gotta put out this fire.
There's like a burning chick here. I gotta put this girl out. Hang on a second. Like, I'm so OG, by the way. I'm so OG.
I was like, Clay, you don't even know who Pat Raider is.
Pat Raider, Patrick Raider. He used to give me so much shit, man. He didn't like what I had to say. So
He was one of the original members, bro.
Really? I wasn't listening back then. I apologize.
It's alright, we all got writing jobs after, so you know
Hey.
how successful we were.
I'm still the newbie here, like, for real. My seat is just Flea's seat, man. I'm just sitting in Flea's underwear here.
Nah, Clay, you got the seat, bro.
Oh, man. No, bro. I want Flea to come back, so I'm ready to give it up any day. Flea wants to come back.
No, Flea, you let Clay, you guys gotta share the seat. You gotta sit on Flea's lap, though.
Mike, I appreciate that, but I am OG. Period. I wish I could do Flea. He fucking cracks me up. I just want to do it.
And then he'll be like, did you play this one horror game for the Nintendo? I'm like, no, I've never heard of it. He's like, well, like, what, 8 copies?
Wait, guys. Breaking news. Like, he always, like, breaks it. He breaks it with something crazy, like that with Hot Topic.
He's like, this thing is the most amazing thing ever. Period.
And
he's a good hype man.
That he is. Alright, let's not get too focused on old habits or whatever. I don't know. Bad segue. Derp. Let's start. Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host Matt, and with me this week here is Mike.
What up, son?
Reporting from duty at his fireplace. Let's hope he doesn't burn alive.
I would not bring my phone to a fire.
Actually, no, that's a lie. You wouldn't burn alive. You're too badass. You'd put it out anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I live in the flames. You know, I played Skyward Sword, so I can take anything.
And up next we have Unoclay.
yeah, fools coming in hot.
This guy ain't OG. That shit's a lie. I'm OG.
We were debating who's the most OG here, so right now I just schooled these fools, all you listeners, about who's the OG.
Yo, get your lame Nintendo Sega done out of here.
Because I'm OG with a Nintendroid, boy. Yeah, how you guys doing? Nice to hear from you. I've been traveling about, so I'm glad to be back. How you guys doing?
Good. And
before we go on, Clay, you've been traveling? I haven't been on it so long, I didn't forgot you even traveled.
Yeah, you're messing with me. Yeah. But who else we got here, Matt?
And we got a special guest this week, returning from an old podcast old episode, not an old podcast. We have Harsh.
Hey.
So, about 4 months ago and 14 episodes ago, because I like math and I like to calculate things, we had Harsh on to discuss what his wants for the NX were from a developer perspective. And now that the Switch has been revealed, we're going to talk mainly about that because it's an interesting thing to talk about, and there's also not a lot of news, so this is like the perfect time to do that kind of segment. There's some Animal Crossing crap this week. None of us play it. Well, I don't know if Harsh does.
Animal Crossing?
But,
lame?
Yeah, only Eli does, and that would have lasted like 5 minutes. So we'll talk about.
No, he would have said something like, he would have been like this. So I got this review copy of Animal Crossing, and then it turns into either really good potential or don't even waste your time with it. But I'm not done with the review. Make sure you read the review on my website. Love Eli. And I'll be like, your name is Eli, but you have a silent A Okay?
Oh,
And then he said soda is pop because he's from the Midwest. So
yo, we got to do an episode where each one of us we have to like flip for it, like who gets to imitate another person, and we do the whole podcast as somebody else. We got to
that's
do.
not fair. I'm the easiest guy. You just gotta yell, get mad, and eat popcorn.
Oh, pop! It's gonna be great. We got to talk about this for another episode. But today, let's focus on today, right?
So before we get to the talking points, we'll just start off with what we've been playing. I don't even know why I'm a host of a video game podcast anymore, because most of the time I'm just saying I haven't played anything. Somehow I find a way not to play games. I mostly want to play games that I don't have, but I don't want to buy them yet, so I'm like in this state of, oh man, I should buy something and play it, but I don't want to.
You become half of YouTube audience. That's what you become. You're like, you know what? Let me watch this guy play the game I want.
I don't care about watching other people play. There's like one guy I watch, and he plays like the worst, most random games, and it's just because he's really funny. But I did end up modding Smash Brothers, so I've just added like a couple of costumes to it, and it took forever to figure out, and I also made stupid mistakes, but it's kind of fun.
It's not as easy as Brawl. Like Brawl was you just plug in an SD card, you're like, I'm good. Like this game, I still haven't even figured it out. But I've seen some of your costumes on Twitter. People who want to know, like, or download your stuff, you should, like, game banana it up. Matt's got some awesome stuff.
Yeah,
I don't have anything.
This is a perfect chance for you to hype your video, because Matt put together, like, kind of a wish list of some, like, characters that could maybe come to a Smash port that he put up on his YouTube channel, and I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I think Matt figured out how to mod his copy of Smash, because all of a sudden these costumes in it of characters on my game.
The funny thing about that is
Smash Wii U.
The funny thing about that is I just modded Brawl instead. Like
really?
the footage is just from Brawl, and then some people imported some of the newer stages into Brawl somehow or whatever. So that's how I recorded that. I don't think I could record. I don't think I actually had the ability to record Smash 4 when I was doing that video. I don't remember. I started the video like way too long ago, but yeah, I don't know. I just put in some costumes and I've been doing that. I raised up my Rob amiibo to level 50, which doesn't take as long as I thought it was. I think it took like 3 hours or less. Like, that was quick. I also hate fighting Rob, so I'm kind of glad it went by quickly, because I have no idea how to fight that dang character. Most of the characters I play don't have ranged attacks, except for like Robin and Corrin, and I barely know Corrin, so...
Hey, you play Kamui and Reflay? Ugh.
you weeb! You're going by the Japanese names.
Yo, you know what's funny? I was at a regional this Saturday, and I commentated, I was like, yo, Kamui with the side B pin. Some guy's like, you freaking weebo. So I'm glad it went back around and Matt's called me a weebo.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I haven't really done much of them. I rage quit. What was that game? I forget. Unoclay. I talked to you about it.
What game were you talking about? I'm not sure. I didn't follow the question.
Oh, it was from one of the Humble bundles. I forget. It doesn't matter. Basically, I played like...
You're talking about Affordable Space Adventures.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be like more open worldy, and it was more level to level, and I got to a point like an hour in where I'm like, this level doesn't seem possible unless I like break the game. Forget it. I'm like, I want to play something.
I'm checking the Just Another Castle wiki, and here it says in episode 122, you said you do not prefer open world games, and now you're saying you would have preferred it if you.
Oh snap! Yeah, correct.
I'm really confused, and I need to make an edit to the wiki. Could you clarify?
Sure, Mr. Reporter.
Yo, get wrecked.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll even go back to that, because there's probably like other games I could buy for a couple of bucks.
Wait, does Sandbox count as open world, or is like Skyrim open world? But I thought that was Sandbox. Sandbox games suck.
I think I've heard GTA being referenced as Sandbox, but that's pretty open. But Skyrim is open world. I don't know. Basically, a big enough space to move around. I figured it would be like Metroid where you have like this one giant map and you go through and like solve different things.
But isn't that Metroidvania Metroid? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, no one knows, but I don't even know what open world is anymore these days. I'm pretty sure everything's just sandbox trash. And I'm like, only Spider-Man 2 is the only good sandbox game. That's not Jack 2, Jack 3.
Yeah. Alright, I've been yammering on for way too long. Harsh, have you played anything recently?
The Goops?
Haven't really seen Civilization. I think it came out recently, Civilization 6.
Sorry, what was that?
Civilization 6.
Oh, Civilization 6.
Yeah, we don't talk about PC games enough around here, man.
Whoa, PC. There's only two things on the PC. It sounds like Counter-Strike 2 and Overwatch. And then if it's not that, then I go, what's the point of a PC that's not Google Chrome and anime? Alright, so that's it.
Says the Nintendo fan.
I go, oh yeah, PC. That's that thing I look up Nintendo news and play Overwatch on. Yeah, I know that thing.
Overwatch is crazy, dude. I remember, I still can't believe how popular that game got, how quickly, because back in the day when I used to go to like, and by the way, this still happens, like you go to like an internet cafe and stuff, they still exist here for some reason.
They still exist? No way. I used to play Diablo 2 at internet cafes.
Yeah, so I think now they're kind of not making enough money just from the internet cafe, so they kind of have like a superstore. So I think I went to buy something there, and instead of everybody shouting something like bomb site A or bomb site B, instead you go there and they're going something like, oh, he's doing a mech thing or something like that.
Oh, get on the point. Yeah.
It's kind of like that, yeah. It's, although, yeah, you know, Overwatch kind of got a lot popular suddenly. Like, I did not expect it to get this popular this fast.
And it's still growing.
But yeah. But Civilization 6, the problem with this game itself, like, if you look at the art style, it looks dog shit. It just looks like one of those...
Really? That sounds like someone who hates Disney Pixar right now.
It looks like crappy freemium humans, basically.
Wow!
And that's the depressing part.
Hates everything here. This is just Injustice right now. I mean,
No, Injustice has a crappy art style.
By the way.
It looks cartoony. Like you build something and the workers, they basically kind of do this cartoony jig. And I go, what? And all of the, if you look at the comparison shots between Civilization 5 and 6, 5 looks realistic as fuck. And this does not. And I go, who was the genius who decided to kind of make this cartoony? And that's depressing because the rest of the game is pretty much fantastic. Like, I really like the base game. Like, other Civilization games, like people say, it takes a while for them to get better with DLC. I'm not even kidding.
Sorry to cut you off for a second. I thought you were talking about Overwatch for a second. How you're like, it's too cartoony, this is garbage. I'm like, wait, what? And then you're going on about
oh, sorry.
something else. And I'm like, wait, I'm
sorry for switching that up.
No, it's okay.
I'm talking about Civilization 6 itself. Like, if you actually go ahead and like look what it looks like, and I think a lot of people kind of gave a stink about it, and I think it was deservedly, because the game itself is pretty good, because generally when you get a Civilization game, you have to kind of wait for DLC to make it better, because Civilization 5 came out, it removed a lot of things from 4, so you had to wait for like Gods and Kings and Brave New World, and those two made the game really, really good. But in this case, you do not have to. It's still a pretty good game right out of the package, but yeah, this is the art style I'm not really confident about.
Yeah, you can
mods, I guess. Mods will have to come.
I can see where you get the freemium aspect from, looking at the art style.
Yeah, and some part of me just goes, no. Yeah. And the whole, they kind of followed it up with even the national leaders, and it just looks funky. I go, this probably wasn't the bravest choice to go for. Well, it was probably the bravest, not the smartest, but you know.
Are you a big fan of the series throughout its history? Is this like one that you played a lot in the series before?
I played strategy games for a long time now. This one I've played since Civilization 2. I haven't played the first one, but yeah, I've kind of stuck along with it for a very long time.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've never played them. They look very interesting to me, but I'm not a PC gamer. But I have a good friend who plays a lot of games like that, and I think I saw him playing it at his house, but he didn't really say much about it. So that's interesting to hear.
And there isn't really much. You have to kind of play it. There's very little you can explain. Okay, you build units, you progress, you maybe capture other cities. It's pretty much strategy games unless you play it to see what's different about this one.
Cool.
How does this one compare to 5? Because I heard a lot of people, or at least some people on Twitter, seem to be really liking this.
Yeah, it's good. Like I said, like the base game itself, like the civilizations, the design, stuff like that is pretty good. Like I would recommend getting this game like right on the first day, actually, if you really want to play it. Other times I'd wait for the DLC, wait for them to fix this. In this case, it's not the problem at all. It's pretty good right out of the box, but just the art style I think I'm kind of having an issue with. But I think that can be modded, hopefully.
Cool. So Mike, why don't you tell us what you've been playing quickly, and because who knows what's gonna happen with
I
you.
haven't really picked up anything new. I mean, like one chapter of Xenoblade, and I'm like, I don't think I have time to play this because Final Fantasy 15's coming out. Then I've just been playing my Phoenix Wright 6, and I picked up Mario Party, but haven't touched it yet. And I know Pokemon's coming out, so yeah. And I went through a Smash review.
Cool. Mario
Chilling
Party's
on that.
already out?
Yeah, bro, came out the 4th.
Oh, okay. Weird.
Yeah, see, slacking. But yeah, other than that, man, yeah, I did pretty good at that regional. Only lost like one guy, so I only got like $280 or something. But it was cool. I had
You
fun.
crumb bum.
Yeah, well, I'm like back into it. As much as I hate the game, I'm kind of back. I'm back. I want to travel too. So
Nice. You should get people to mod the consoles at tournaments so you can have different costumes. Be like, I'm fighting
That's what
armored
I'm saying.
Mewtwo now. It's
yeah,
so
yeah.
cool.
Some people hate it. Some people love it. It's so weird in that kind of FGC community. I mean, Brawl, like major Brawl tournaments used to have mods. So like Skatar, if you look it up. So SKTAR, by the way. That's Skatar.
Neat.
All right, yeah, that's about my that's my life story.
Cool. And Unoclay, what have you been up to?
Traveling a bit, and playing some games. Sticking to the games part. The new stuff I've been playing. Sounds like I've been playing the most games this week. I mean, I don't know how that compares to Mike's sheer number of hours of playing Smash, or like how, Harsh, how many hours you sat at Civilization.
Oh, wait. I do put my time in Overwatch, and I do play some Melee and Trash 4. So, I mean, but I think if you're playing more games, you'll be fine.
Right on. It's just like
because I play Trash.
It didn't sound like a ton of stuff. I'm like, wait, is nobody playing games? Are games like not cool anymore? I want to be cool.
Yeah, games are lame now.
No, I played something interesting on my flight. I had downloaded Code of Princess for 3DS, Code of Princess. It's okay. I'll be blunt. I mainly downloaded it because it was on sale and because the graphics look like it's got hot anime princesses in it. So I was like,
How many weebs are on this podcast?
Bro, it's like at least 3 of us. I don't want to speak for Harsh right up here. No, but I was playing that. It's a kind of a brawler with RPG elements and like character leveling and stuff like that. So it's kind of like and it's got a lot of story, like cutaways, and it's got a lot of grinding involved to like level up your characters. Like basically you add party members it's like a brawler RPG where you like add characters to your team as you advance the story, but then they don't have any experience. So you like are kind of have the, how would you say, like you're encouraged to grind by going back and doing earlier chapters with them again. And they're very short. These are like, fight scenes where you're in a level for like, I don't know, anywhere from like 30 seconds to like 4 minutes roughly. I'm ballparking there. So, it's fun. It's got a kind of okay story. I'm not a big story guy in games, but the cutscenes are okay. It's a lot of the like still frame animation, sort of like Fire Emblem type stuff where the characters talk and make expressions and they're like, whoa, what? Oh no, and like a lot of that talking back and forth. Kind of cool characters, Like,
did you know I tried out for Yu-Gi-Oh! Voice acting as at Comic-Con, so I'm in the movie and make it. Yeah, so it was like kind of like that voice acting. I just had like one line, so
Mike?
I think I'm changing my career now. Hello?
Yo.
Hi.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that Fire Emblem thing you were talking about when they're like, they just say like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said at Comic-Con I tried out for Yu-Gi-Oh! Voice acting in the movie, So, you know, I might be, if I make it in the movie, I think I'm switching careers. So, just letting you know.
I can't wait to say I know a guy who's like doing voice acting in like some third-rate Digimon film or something like that. It'll be sweet.
Yeah, I'm like, hey man, don't do that. And they're like, that was a terrible. I mean, great. We're gonna definitely call you back. I was like, cool, nice, thank you.
Huge. You're gonna be huge, bro.
Thanks, man. I do. Trust me. You want to know the line I had? Once the
Yes.
reading on those scans. That's it. I was one of those like quick 8-second flash guys. Like they were barely in it. It was like one of Kaiba's henchmen. That was the line I had to try out for. So when I'm famous, just remember I was on this podcast and now I'm Kaiba's henchman.
I don't think I would not be able to not recognize your voice at this point. Like if I heard you,
You're gonna be like, yo, that's the guy from my podcast, and he's like, yo, look at him, he's moving up. He's almost Kaiba.
Right.
Soon enough, you'll also screw the rules and say you have money.
Yeah. All right. Like, tell me more about your short RPG. You don't know what you're doing, but you bought it on sale because you're cheap.
Anyway. Wow, it's coming direct tonight. Don't edit yourself, Mike. Come on, like people want to know.
Oh yeah, you're right. Man, tell me more about this intriguing downloaded game I've never heard of.
It's all right. The game's okay. It's like it's kind of fun if you want a brawler with RPG elements. It's not bad, but it's been overpriced. I think it was like $20 for a while. I don't enjoy that style of game enough to think it's worth $20, but it's definitely got content. So it's called Code of Princess. I don't know if it's still on sale.
I heard of this game. I've actually heard of this game.
Yeah,
okay.
It was well reviewed when it came out. It's not your standard brawler like with like nothing to do. It's got special moves. You got to kind of learn the inputs. You know, it's not just mash the buttons. Like, and I've gotten to a wall, in fact, where I think I need to go back and practice on earlier levels. In fact, because the boss just keeps kicking my butt, and I'm like, wait, there's a brawler. I thought I just have to hit the buttons, you know, and it's not working out. So, other than that, I played a little bit of Castlevania X, which I'd never played before on Super Nintendo, and I heard it was an amazing Castlevania game, and indeed it is a very good Castlevania game. It's the one that's known as Rondo of Blood, I believe, on other systems, and I think it's super expensive on Super Nintendo, so you're gonna have to find a way to play it. Hint, hint, wink, wink, if you want to play it. So, but it's great Castlevania game, pretty challenging at parts. In fact, it's a little brutal, sometimes a little unfair with the little bats and the Medusa heads and all that crap that's standard practice for Castlevania. But I've been enjoying it. I think I'm almost near the end of it, in fact, at this point, as far as I can tell. So.
I was going to say, beating any Castlevania games is a good accomplishment. Those games are not easy, and they're all fun. So.
Yeah, totally. It's one of the few I'd never played, so I was excited to play it, and it's kind of living up. I'd heard it was a really good one. It's got branching paths, too. A little bit like part 3, kind of the way part 3 has branching paths according to what characters you pick and stuff. This one, it's a little more, it's not as spelled out for you. There's a map, but you don't really, not anywhere that I've found, you don't get to pick which way you go. It's your classic Castlevania side scrolling. Like, it doesn't have the mechanics of the 3DS versions, just for anyone listening who doesn't know. It's not one of the ones where you got really sophisticated weapon systems and magic systems. It's your classic NES era Castlevania style game where you go left to right or down to up or whatever, and you've got one special weapon slot, and it's just brutally difficult most of the time, and you're going to get killed a lot. Well, not quite brutally most of the time, but then there are some levels where it just gets punishing, and you're like yelling and throwing the controller because you can't believe how hard it is. Oh, I know how you can play it legitimately. You could, I believe it's on the Wii U download console. You can get it on there, and you probably want it on there because it'll have save states for the less inclined to play the hardest game and not cheat, you know, because I'm playing it without cheats, but I can see people getting pissed off around level 5 and 6 where it gets like stupid difficult, and you have to try it like 40 times to pass a level, things like that. So yeah, but it's good. So that's what I've been playing.
Cool. So we'll get on into the questions. Before we get into what you want to see as a developer, from a consumer perspective, what do you think of the reveal so far?
That wasn't much of a reveal to me. You know what I mean, right? Like it's, so we saw basically a tablet and a toaster-like thing where you smash in the tablet. But
yeah.
I think someone called it a toaster, and I go, I'm going to steal that. I'm going to call it a toaster now.
We all
But
call it the toaster. It's great.
yeah, but there wasn't much of a reveal. Like, I'm hearing things that it's maybe 4 gigabytes of RAM. And if that's the case, good fucking luck. Let's just put it that way. Good fucking luck trying to get people to develop for that. But that's the fact. Like, it's a tablet. Like, if you keep in mind, how much can they jam into this? It looked kind of alright, width to me. It didn't look too thick. So that basically means that what they basically had to go for wasn't exactly the most powerful thing out there. So as a consumer, I really just kind of want to see what games are on it. Because I think a lot of people got burned with the Wii U with, hey, look at all the third-party support we have this time. Okay, sure, but is that just ports of the old system games like they made maybe one generation ago? Or is that meaning that they make original games for it? So even with the current thing that, hey, look at all the third parties we've got. Yeah, sure. Are they making ports or are they making new games? I don't know. And 4 GB of RAM, I still can't get over that small amount of RAM space.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'd say everybody on the planet would agree with your statement. We want to see what games are on it. That's like the first, that is the first and foremost thing, I think, right? I mean, are we in agreement?
Yeah.
Pretty well. I'm biased. I'd probably buy it anyway, just because I said like last week it's gonna have all the franchises to make it worth it for me. But yeah, definitely for the most part, like you're gonna want to see what games are coming on there.
I don't know. I'd buy it. I'm Nintendo. We bought trash. I'd buy anything.
We all are, at least.
Yeah, that's the point of the podcast.
Not to speak on
Group.
Harsh's behalf, obviously.
I might need to get it at some point just to kind of if I want to make games on it, but I doubt I don't know what the exact specifications of it will be or what the independent scene on it is. Yeah. Because Nintendo generally hasn't been the most positive to third parties.
Yeah.
Ever really.
Like, you go back. That's so polite, the way you said it.
It's kind of funny because I had a friend who basically, he worked, I'm not going to name where he works, but let's just say he works at a major publisher, and he was talking to his boss, and his boss says, fucking Nintendo, yeah, now the foot's on the other end. Let's see what we're going to make for him. Because this guy has been working in the industry for 20 or so years, and like you can kind of go back and you can always just see like Nintendo's never really been very friendly or supportive of the third parties. I don't know. I doubt it's gonna be an issue because as long as everybody makes money, I don't see a problem where it's gonna be made. I'm just kind of curious to see what the exact specifications of it are, but from like prior speculation, I doubt it's gonna be too big. So like you're seeing as a consumer, look, if they gave me good games, I'm still on it. I don't care. But as a developer, I don't know.
Did you end up picking up a Wii U? I don't remember.
Nah.
Okay.
Oh, he was waiting
there's
for
maybe one good
You're
game.
stabbing me in the heart, Arch. You're stabbing me right here in the heart.
There's maybe one good game on there. Bayonetta.
Oh my god.
Bayonetta.
That's probably the one good game.
Oh my god, you're gonna make Mike's head explode. I love Bayonetta, but my head is gonna explode.
Yo, you see, Goofed, I'm glad you didn't buy a Wii U.
I was so fucking depressed when I realized that it was exclusive for the Wii U. And I go, I have to buy a Wii U, don't I? But like a friend of mine lent it to me to play it. What a good game. Such a good series.
I mean, like, Harsh, I feel like this is like old territory on our podcast, but for us to sit here and with all the great games that are on the system, it would just be boring to our listeners. They'd be like, yeah, we know Clay and Matt love Splatoon, and we know Mike loves like nothing on the system, but he still says he loves the system. It's confusing. It'd be like really confusing, but
yeah, man. I'm like, yo, man, I love Tropical Freeze. It's like the worst dog in the country, but I love it.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll get lucky, Harsh, because it sounds like there's going to be at least some ports of some of the biggest titles, coming over to the Switch, so you'll get your second shot at some of the top ones, because really.
But keep in mind, like sorry. just as sorry for cutting you off, but keep in mind, just kind of like as a gamer, if they're already making ports, chances are that's already on the PC, and I can play that with, my monster hardware. I can play it at a much better settings on my PC. So I don't even know if I'm even interested in like if they just put in ports in there.
Yep. No worries. Got it. Got it. Sounds like we got a PC gamer in our midst, guys. What are we gonna do? We gotta gather around. Like,
Pardon the witch. No.
PC gamers, you know what he's gonna wait for? He's gonna be like, yo, when's 40 games gonna be on sale for $30 and I'm never gonna play any of them? Okay? I'm gonna be like, first off, 32 of those games are shovelware trash. Okay?
So, speaking of PC games, Unoclay was bringing up a point before of, what kind of things do you want for Christmas? And I said, I want one of those Steam Box, the Steam Link things, so I can play all those games I'd never played that I bought like 6 years ago.
That's literally
that's literally
what Steam said. I want to get a Steam Box so I can like play, like get, so I can have it.
I already own.
That I never played, but I never will play them. Yeah. Jeez, you guys.
So you just bought those games with hopes that one day you'll be able to play them?
Pretty much.
Man, and listeners,
a couple of them I've like played for a little bit, like Valkyria Chronicles. I think I put like 2 hours into it, but I don't really sitting at my desk like with an office chair and to bring my computer over to my TV. I mean, it's like 50 feet away, so it's not the distance, but it would be like every time I want to play one of these games, I gotta lug over my big fat ass desktop thing or tower and hook it up, and I don't want to. So
get one.
Totally.
Get one of those wireless HDMI connectors. That's what I do.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm telling you this, and I want the listeners to take notice. Matt, if they lost track of who said what at the beginning of the podcast, is the guy that said he doesn't play games anymore because he wants to think about the games he doesn't have yet. I don't even know what to say. You got games you didn't play. Oh my god, these kids these days. I'm just gonna sit here and bang my old man head on the desk. Oh. That was really my head.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think I've only finished like 2 or 3 Steam games I've bought out of like 20 or 15 or something. I've finished a couple, but the only like big AAA game I think I've finished was BioShock Infinite and Tomb Raider. And Tomb Raider was a cool situation because I was playing it across like a couple of days and I had like the window cracked open and it was like raining outside, so like the atmosphere like outside and what I was feeling was literally the same as like in the game. So it's like this weird, cool immersion thing. But
wait, Tomb Raider's AAA? I wouldn't consider that. That shit's ported, bro. That shit's like double A.
It's Blockbuster. But
it's not AAA.
It's made by like I forget who made it.
By Square Enix, but yes. But if it's on multiple systems, I don't get. It's not AAA exclusive. That means it's poop. Anything that's ported is poop.
It's got millions of dollars in it. It's AAA.
It's a double. It's a double A sandbox open world shovel trash, right?
That sounds basically that's what I hear when somebody says Tomb Raider or something. I'm like, wow, must be that. Like, thanks for putting the short version of the name.
I had it because I didn't buy it. It just came with my graphics.
No, it's too late. It's like playing Final Fantasy X. Like if you bought it, you're a sucker. If you were walking home from school and you found them on top of someone's trash and you play it, then that means you know what? That's why that game was thrown out, because that game was trash. But you know what? I picked it up from someone's trash.
Mr. Mike, should I remind you, you're the one who's played all 3 Final Fantasy 13 games and platinumed the worst one, which is the first one. Don't talk to me.
The worst one is the third one, by the way.
Is it?
That game is not an RPG. That game is just terrible. But the first one is like I don't know. They're both that bad. It's really hard to like. If you just want to like kill someone, just put one of those 2 games on the table, and then make them choose. And then be like, you know what, dude, I'm just gonna jump off this cliff. And you'll be like, better option, dude. And then you throw it at them anyway.
So to reel back the conversation to Nintendo, on this Nintendo podcast, who knew?
What?
So Harsh, I guess what would you want from the Switch? As a developer, I don't know I don't even know how I want to phrase this. I guess how do you feel before they revealed it and now after they revealed it?
the feeling would have been I was kind of disappointed because I know for a fact, like I think someone even told, by the way, I came across many wonderful people on the internet when I tried to criticize Nintendo. And I was talking about something like, okay, so the system is going to be very, underpowered, and then he goes, but like when you plug it into the toaster, it becomes like super powerful. I'm like, I go, this is not a fucking transformer. You can't just place it on. And I think after like 24 hours later, Nintendo got to confirm it. It's just like a dock. Mm-hmm. And I go, I don't know how I feel about this anymore. And somebody said, well, now nobody has to worry about Nintendo handheld games and AAA games because they are on the same space. See, here's the thing about handheld games. That's a very weird market. Handheld game market is probably going to be lasting not that long from now on. I'm going to predict this right here. But the thing about it is, like you said, that when you're talking about handheld, that's kind of like this double A game development where it's kind of expensive but not quite as expensive as like the really expensive AAA games. So these developers just kind of make, handheld games and that's really it. Now, they have to kind of keep up with games that are made for AAA, and I doubt people are going to be investing too much money into making that. They'll just kind of move over to mobile or something, which it's still funny that, not funny really, but I think it's kind of wise that Nintendo's kind of moving away from the handheld thing, because nobody's really going to buy it. Now everybody's just kind of using the phone.
Well, I don't agree, and I do agree. In Japan, you could say your numbers support your thing, but like as someone who plays games like a lot proficiently, not to be like a douche about it, even though I am the biggest douche on the podcast.
Just go ahead, bro. Just go ahead.
Yeah. I've actually the last two and a half months, I've been more wanting to play handheld games, because it's mobile games are like a lower class. Like I'm not talking like monetary developer, but it's like as someone who's constantly playing AAA games, it's like I don't have the time to right now. These handheld games are like the perfect like backlog. Like it's not a 60 to 100 hour game. Some of them are. Some RPGs are handheld, but it's like this good 20 to 40 hour game that I'm enjoying, well made, well developed. I'm thinking like a super old one, like maybe like 3D Land or something. Like that game is fantastic, and it satisfied everything I wanted in a game that would be on a console versus like on a handheld, And so the market might die. It's kind of hard because Japan, it's like 60% of people are playing mobile versus like handheld. But then you look at like Monster Hunters and stuff and their numbers and PS Vita, and like the Vita only sells there. Like handheld is still really big. I feel like consoles are like fake dying. Like if it's not AAA, I don't want to play it. Like it's not first party kind of stuff. I'm like, I don't want to play this game. Yeah,
I can certainly understand what. No, go ahead.
No, that's what I had to say. No, you can go, Goop.
Now
he does have a first name, Mike.
Oh, okay, my bad, Harsh.
Then why are you guys calling me by my last name? What the heck?
We don't even know your first name.
Yeah, you don't. That's right.
We're gonna dox you.
You can't. You don't even got the data to dox me.
I'm gonna look up a boy in his blob and somehow reconnect it to your IP address.
You're gonna try. All right, back to the Harsh. We're gonna call him like the Donald. He's the Harsh.
Don't you dare! Don't you fucking dare! But. Okay, so I can certainly understand why you prefer handheld games to mobile games. Like I still prefer if someone because in handheld you just kind of buy one game and you play it to the end. In mobile, it's just too much nonsense is involved into it. Like a lot of it is just freemium, and even then you have to kind of buy stuff for you to progress. Buy super powerful ammo, and you can basically kill this unkillable boss with the normal weapons or something like that.
But grinding 60 hours for the same thing you could have bought for 99 cents.
Yeah, and I kind of liken this. The issue here is that I kind of liken this to myself when I had like a 3DS, and basically I never carried that thing around. Whenever I was on like a bus or something, I just kind of pull out my phone and I'd play whatever was on it, or maybe. That's really it. So I think a lot of it has to do with like the portability factor. I doubt people are going to be carrying around this system everywhere, like maybe on the bus or something. And like somebody was looking at it, and the name escapes me, but this kind of looks like a Nvidia style tablet, which kind of had like a PlayStation Move style joystick on both ends. I don't know what it was called, but it was
I
really
know what you're talking about.
One of them is
right?
the Nvidia Shield. The other one, I know what you're talking about. My brother-in-law actually had it. I forget. It was just like the Nvidia tablet.
Neo Geo, is that it?
Neo Geo. Neo Geo Pocket.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But well, no, I kind of want, like, I want to see the full specifications of this. I want to see what new games are coming on. I want to see, what they, like, for me personally, I want to see how they're supporting the independents, because how is the support on Wii U for independent stuff? Because whenever I talk to someone regarding, hey, how about that system? They would just say, just avoid it. What was like the independent scene on the Wii U?
I don't know. I mean, like, repeat that. Like, yeah.
how is it?
No, I was gonna say just reword it. How is what?
Okay, like how was the independent marketplace on the Wii U?
From what I know, is it was either Nintendo games sold or indie games sold. Nothing in the middle, because I heard indie development was very hard in the beginning, but once a lot of games started getting ported over, I hear them, like, I from what I know, I don't buy indie trash, I'll PS Plus it because it's free, but yeah, I'm a terrible human being, but we were doing that.
I mean, are you asking about how hard was it to develop for it, or how well did the games do? I wasn't sure what.
I know how it was to develop for it. It was pretty weird because I think I knew a lot of people who did develop for it, and they said this thing is really hard to work with. Like somebody said it was like they had somehow configured it to work and they were afraid to touch it again. Yeah, I think that was the way I heard it said. How were the sales? Like, how did the game sell on it?
I don't think we know. That's the problem. I don't think there's a lot of data. Sometimes like the developers will come on Twitter or in other media and say things that they were pleased. And I feel like I've heard that fairly, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Like, I feel like I've heard that like in some cases where it sounds like, oh yeah, like the sales were okay, like, for different games, but I don't think we really know. And the sales data, since there aren't physical copies being reported by physical retailers, I guess we don't know a lot about that in general. You only just hear kind of like secondhand and thirdhand, Matt, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, most of them don't really say too much. I've heard obviously poor cases where games didn't sell. Tokitori 2 Plus or whatever was an example where it basically like didn't sell all that well, and the studio ended up closing. I think they sold on PC as well, but that was one example.
Some not that good.
But then there are some other examples, like the one from Renegade Kid, the Mutant Muds. That game sold like better on Wii U than I think the other platforms combined. So it's a really weird hit and miss thing. But Renegade Kid also has like some, like, people know of them a little bit, so there's that helping them. So I don't know, it's a really weird case where some good well-known developers will get some decent or good sales, and then some other ones, regardless of how well they're known or not, like, might get poor sales, but for the most part no one says anything. So I don't think it's great. It's either adequate or not good for the. I don't know. Maybe a lot of them just don't want to say it, even if they are doing well. Because I don't think many developers come out. I don't think many indie developers come out and say, "Yeah, we sold better than we expected." It just doesn't sound like something people usually say.
I feel like I've heard that once or twice, but like you're saying, Matt, yeah, the summary answer is we don't know, and there's not good data on it. And even the professional podcasters out there, when you hear them talk or touch on this issue, it sounds like they're in the same boat. You don't hear a lot of hard data, like for sales, for the downloadable only stuff, Yeah, it's tough to tell. My gut instinct, as someone who does buy a lot of the stuff that Mike is saying he doesn't touch, I buy a lot of indie games on the Wii U, relatively speaking. I'm not a not a lot, but I'd say I have 20 downloaded. I don't know, at least, like indie games on my Wii U. And I tend to see pretty good community on the Wii U boards. Now that's really anecdotal, but there's a lot of people talking about the games when I go into the message board for that game and things like that. It tends to feel like it doesn't feel like there's no one there and you're by yourself. If you go and talk on the Wii U message boards and stuff like that, they're fairly popular to some degree, but sales wise, I don't know. It's a tough one to answer.
Yeah, well, let's see what they do differently. I'm like right now, the best thing I can say is like let's just wait. Let's just wait for them to kind of reveal like what kind of hardware they have. And I might be wrong, but they never really even revealed what the Wii U's hardware was, right?
No, I don't think they basically like never reveal the specs. It's always someone else like digging in that finds out, what card is this or that.
Classic Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah. It's literally, it's been broken down left and right and fought to death on message boards about like the exact power, all that good stuff. I think the information's out there, obviously, at this point, but it's never been like Nintendo doesn't.
But it never really, it's never really come from like an official source.
Right.
I don't know, man. Like, how much can you really jam into a tablet?
Yeah.
How much can you really jam into a tablet? That's
yeah, obviously you can't jam too much like an iPad, or else it wouldn't be affordable. But
yeah, and it wasn't. Go ahead.
No, I just was agreeing with you. I have the same exact wonder about this. Like, how in the heck am I going to walk around and truly believe the system's that powerful? But I want to believe, man. I want to believe. Like, so, but I hear you. I have that same concern.
And like, I don't know if Nintendo should be even doing this right now, because this just feels like somebody said that they're basically trying to recapture the Wii, which I still think that they shouldn't even be trying to do. The Wii, while it sold a good amount, the issue was that it didn't really do very well, like with the software sales and stuff, because no one really even bought too much games for it. People just kind of maybe got it like, oh, I'm gonna buy a game for my son where he plays with fucking tennis, and that's where it began and ends. So like, you kind of notice this actually. Like, I used to wonder back in the day, like, why exactly were there more games on the Wii? When it sold so well, definitely developers should have been making for it. But then I realized the sales were pretty bad. Like, it didn't sell too bad on the system. So it was mostly just, not that many games, and even if they were there, they were just like very watered down. But I don't know. I go ahead.
I was going to say in rebuttal to one thing you were saying, I guess when you say you're not sure if they should be doing this right now, I take it you're saying are you saying you're doubting the strategy of a console / handheld hybrid, or were you saying something else? I wasn't sure what you meant they should be doing right now. I just wanted to figure that out.
Part of it would be hybrid, but I just prefer, like, I prefer for them to go with like a safer option, because let's just say Nintendo really hasn't had much of a success, like, good part of the last decade almost. I would actually, not talking about handheld, of course, I'm talking about like the main console. But I would kind of have just preferred if they just kind of went with like, here's a powerful system that has all your Nintendo exclusives, and we're giving developers the chance to make what they want because it's powerful. I feel that would have just sold a good amount. Like, if they just didn't worry about like the tablet and all of the expensive stuff. Also, the price. What do you think the price for the thing's gonna be?
Eli was thinking it'll probably be like $250 or something, because we were looking at the Nvidia Shield, and I think that sold for like $300, or is selling for $300, and that's like a couple of years old. So,
and Eli would be
like
Eli would be the person I would trust out of us guessing on that, but personally I think it's going to be more, because I'm a cynic and I expect it to be more, and then like I hope I'm pleasantly surprised. But
if it's, let me just tell you this much, if it's more than like $300 or $299 as you Americans like to do it, if it's more than that, I think it's a kiss of death.
It's a what?
I doubt it's a kiss of death, dude.
Oh,
like, if it's more than, I think my voice got cut out there. But I think if it's more than that, I doubt the system's selling. Because keep in mind, many people say, oh, why won't people buy it? you're trying to occupy the same console space that PS4 and Xbox have been dominating, and they've been here for a while. There's a good library right there. And now they're kind of deciding on going with like this more powerful system. How do you think it's going to look when you're competing with a system that just leaps and bounds ahead of you in like the horsepower?
I mean,
and it's
the bottom line is they're never. This is a debate Matt and I have had for years now.
Fight.
Matt and I just like go back and forth, like where I think the bottom line is like I don't think they can compete with the other guys like 1-to-1 at this point. They're not in that position.
Yeah.
They have to keep doing the Apple thing, which is do it different and then pray it works. Like keep trying it and pray it works, because the main thing they have is their IP, and the second main thing they have is typically some kind of unusual
nostalgia.
hardware. And so I hear you. The safe bet could be the right idea, but it's not their way. And hey, I'm not going to sit here on a Nintendo podcast and say I wish Nintendo would get Saber. You know what I mean? I'm going to be like, no, I want you to be totally crazy, and I want you to like make me wear Mario's hat while I play the game for an extra like Mario virtual reality experience. That I'm like, why do I have to wear this stupid hat now? And they're like, cause you get special graphics when you wear the Mario hat. No, but in seriousness, I guess like Matt and I have gone around and around about that when it comes to like third party support, and I don't, and things like that. And I'm like, the bottom line is I think they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they just made a system that was the same as an Xbox or the same as a PS4, like a really, really normal console, people would just still have the same reason. Like, well, why would I get Nintendo? They would say, well, I'm just going to stay on PSN where I have all my friends, like. They're not going to.
Here's why they'll get it.
Go ahead,
Here's why they'll get it. No. Here's the thing. To my rebuttal on that. Here's why they'll get it. If it's as powerful as, let's just say, like the PS4 or the Xbox, the new ones that are coming out. Now let's just say if it's as powerful as that. So here's what you're getting when you get a Nintendo console. You get all of your exclusives, also all of the major third-party games. Tell me how that's not appealing to anybody. Like, you can play all of your Nintendo games, those are exclusive, and also all of the third-party stuff. Because someone's arguing...
As long as they came over. I mean, that's assuming those companies came over to Nintendo. But we could end up in that same situation where they wait and see, and then they see that Nintendo fans, unfortunately... Because the problem is that Nintendo fans pirate the sales of the... Sorry, my computer's doing something.
You're saying Uno?
All right, my computer was freezing up here. Sorry. Nintendo fans pirate the sales of the third parties and end up not buying the third parties. So then the third parties depart the system. See, I don't want to go down this road because me and Matt have like banged head on this so many times. It's going to bore. Everyone's going to click off this podcast if you and me get back into that again, like third party support. But I think you're right. I mean, Harsh, I respect your opinion. I would love what you're projecting. I would love it. I would get to mock all my friends who are like Nintendo haters, and I'd be like, yeah, see who gets all the games now? Me. But I always feel like Nintendo fans don't buy exclusive games, even much less others. Call of Duty sells no copies on Nintendo when it comes to Nintendo, and it's one of the biggest games in the world. What's going to happen with lesser games like that don't have as big a pull? Like even exclusives like Bayonetta 2 can't convince you to buy the system, and that's not really neither here nor there. Go on.
But that's because the system barely sold anything. Like the Wii U just sold terribly. I really genuinely feel like that would have been like a wiser choice to go with, because in that case I still feel to this day that Nintendo has the best exclusives. When people will argue, oh no, Xbox is better, they got Halo, or PS4's got better because it's got Uncharted or something. I still say that Nintendo probably has the best exclusives. I would legitimately I consider getting a console just to play all of the Nintendo exclusives, and if it has all of the third party support, well, I guess I'm getting it for the other games as well. Like, it makes the argument more compelling. Like, I think PS3 at least, I feel was a really good console for the reasons that when it launched, nobody expected, like, it launched pretty terribly, but, Sony kind of poured money into it to kind of make it, to get people to buy it and, pay up the developers. But by the end of everything, like, it had such a vast library of third party. When I got my PS3, it was much later, and I got it mostly for playing the third party games that were on there because there were so many for it. And it just basically saying, like, you're maximizing the choice of the people.
Right.
Like, instead of just saying, like, hey, here's, like, maybe Zelda, but none of the third party games. And when Sony's coming up to you and saying, hey, here's Uncharted, but then here's all of the third party games as well. It just makes more sense just from like a, what's bigger analogy for anybody, who's going to buy a console to say, hey, maybe I'll just get it because it has a bigger library.
Yeah.
So here's, I'm gonna throw out a devil's advocate question, even though this kind of goes against what I've said before. So the main argument is, if you had third parties and exclusives, that would garner more people. But if those exclusives, like Nintendo has a lot of first party exclusives, but if that's not enough to get someone to come over, then why would it, crap, how do I want to phrase this?
Yeah, because I know where you're coming from typically, Matt. I don't know what you're getting. It sounds like you're trying to come over to Clay's party over here, where it's like the third parties ain't gonna sell, bro. They're not gonna sell.
Yeah, well, not the third parties. I'm thinking, so, Nintendo usually has a lot of exclusives, and that still doesn't garner people to come over. Would third parties even make a difference? Like, oh, it has third parties and exclusives, but people don't go over to Nintendo consoles even with the exclusives anyway. Like I'm saying, here's a better way of saying it.
I know what you're saying.
Nintendo has, let's say, 20 first party exclusives, and to the average person, like, they're interested in 3 of them. Will it really matter if they have all the third parties if the only other benefit is, hey, they have, like, the 3 Nintendo exclusives I want?
I think so, yeah.
It could. I mean, I think the answer is, I think everyone here is right. I genuinely, like, I think this whole American political campaign makes me realize a lot of times I find myself thinking a lot about how we're tricked oftentimes into thinking in dichotomies and black and white, and most things is gray, and it's kind of an ignorant way to think, to assume everything's black and white. The problem for Nintendo is they have to make a decision of what direction to go in, and Harsh's idea, his proposal that like he would rather see them have everything on one system and it would be an attractive thing is true. It's 100% true. And at the same time, there are other true facts that are in direct competition with that for their resources and their money and their time and how they market the system and what they end up getting on the system, such as the problem that historically, like it or lump it, Nintendo fans tend not to buy third-party games in enough numbers on average to make it a serious proposition until it's shown to be working. Like the Wii, the original Wii was a success on such a broad scale that third parties were willing to take a risk on the system and bring games to the system, assuming, well, this has got an enormous install base. Why not try bringing games to that system? We'll do what we can. It didn't necessarily work out for them. And Wii U has only reinforced that issue. I mean, like literally we've talked about this on a lot of podcasts. I've got Splinter Cell. I've got Bayonetta sitting down there. I've got Batman Arkham City and Arkham, whatever, the one after Arkham City sitting down there on my Wii U. And those sold in like the tens of thousands on Wii U. I mean, just no sales. And those companies are right to bail on Nintendo at that point in the sense that if they're going to do what's best for their bottom line, they're like, nobody's buying Call of Duty on this system. Nobody's buying it except for like this guy in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, like bought 2 copies of it for God's sake, and I think we're both right. I would like to see a world, but I always think Nintendo's got to get in a stronger position before they worry about the third party stuff, because that's their first and their biggest asset is Mario. Their biggest asset is Link. Keep that stuff up in the front. Do the cool hardware idea that, I mean, frankly, the Switch reveal's gone pretty well in my perception in terms of reaction across the internet, reaction from commons who've seen the ads. And I've had, my friends who aren't very devoted gamers emailing me to ask me about the Switch and say, I mean, this is all anecdotal. It's not market research, but it feels like a good reaction. So I kind of am liking where they are right now. I'm like, you're putting Mario and Zelda and everything up in the front. That's your biggest trump card. And then your a unique hardware design. That's kind of something you're historically known for. And then, and you have done the third thing, which Harsh is arguing for. And I think we all want. They've got this huge list of developers lined up that supposedly are going to support the system. Supposedly being the key word. So.
But the exact same thing, everything you mentioned, everything was there when the Wii U launched, dude. Like they said, the response was pretty good. They had this huge list of third-party developers. Everything that you mentioned was there with the Wii U as well. And you know how that system did?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I didn't, it's hard for me to gauge it because I think you're right to some degree that I don't know how the world felt about Wii U when it was really.
I was going to say that would be the only thing I'd question because, I mean, like, obviously we had YouTube back in when the Wii U launched, but I think it was such a different time compared to now. So I don't know if the world really was interested in the Wii U when it was first shown off. I don't know if, well, I don't think anyone really knew about it because they got confused at what the heck it was. So
yeah, it's hard to say. I do
agree that they're like, oh, here's our third party list, blah blah blah, and that's kind of a second rate thing. Like, yeah, whatever. We'll see if you actually support it for longer than a year and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know. I also think they made a big difference that we always have to remember is they made a pretty big error with Wii U, not the naming thing. I've never thought the naming thing's as big a problem, but I grant that it was a problem. But I think they made a bigger error in not having a really big out the gate, like, launch lineup. Like, and it looks like they're trying to fix that for this one. That, I don't know if that's going to be a magic bullet to really help kickstart it into full gear, having the Zelda ready at launch, having the other, apparently a lot of other things ready at launch to go. But I don't feel like the library was very big for Wii U, so only diehards like me bought it on day one, where I'm like, I'm going to play Nintendo Land till my fingers fall off, even if it's the only game I have, for like a month, or whatever, So I don't know. It's a nervous time, isn't it? It's a weird time to see what's going forward. I feel like my job here is to convince Harsh that he's got to buy a Switch on day one, and I feel like I'm failing, and I'm stressing over it here. You need this, bro, and I don't know why, but it's called Mario, and it's called jumping on Goombas, and it's gonna be sweet, and that's my best argument.
Yeah. I wish there were Bayonetta 3. I'd actually kind of be itching, like, hey, maybe I should buy it if that was good. But I don't know. Like, I want to see what the.
What did you say? Bayonetta 3? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Maybe someone will mod it so you can. Maybe someone will mod it so you can stream your Steam games to it.
Yeah, it's possible.
Then it'll have like an ulterior purpose that wasn't intended.
So you're using it for a purpose higher than its original.
No, we're if Mike was here, I'll channel Mike because Mike had to drop off. Like, no, man, we're lowering, bro. We're gonna lower our Switch down to the trash on that Steam box. We're gonna lower it down, bro. Just keep it right. Like, the Steam games have to come up to play things like all the games I hate on my Switch, like all the Nintendo games that I'm gonna also hate on there. So.
No, but I wish, like, just kind of like bringing my argument to it, and I'd say, like, I'm still wishing to see what the specs are, what kind of games are coming on, like, and who's actually making them. And I don't want a big launch lineup because, contrary to belief, a bigger launch lineup doesn't necessarily mean the console is going to be successful. What does make a difference is like a consistent lineup. Like, how much games are you getting over time? Like, maybe you're getting like one game every 1 month, something like that. Like some good game in that amount of time, and it's consistent across all like, an entire year or something like that. I think that's what makes consoles better because people consistently want to go and buy the console to play that specific game. I still want to see this console succeed because here's the thing with Nintendo and me. I really hated Nintendo when I was a teenager because, edgy. But I needed to be edgy, bro. You don't get it. Nintendo's like for kids. But
Hey, we
but
still
like,
all act like kids. We buy stinking plastic McDonald's toys with characters on it, so I mean those criticisms are still fair.
Maybe some of us do. I only buy every amiibo that ever comes out. McDonald's is even beneath me, bro.
I think that's the best way to describe the amiibo of McDonald's toy. No, but seriously, I respect Nintendo for the reason because they still market their games as, hey, this game is fun. I don't think anybody does that, and I really like Nintendo for still saying, hey, it's fun. Because a game can be gritty, it can be dark, it can be a horror game, sure, but it also needs to be fun. I think a lot of, whenever anybody else kind of goes on, they have a different way of preaching what they want. That's maybe one reason I really want the system to succeed. However, there's many things it has to get right because it doesn't have the hardware on its side. I think what's gonna sell it is maybe if it sells very well and if the software is good, I think that's what's gonna make the system, popular and to get third parties onto it. I really hope that, third parties kind of put games on it because I guarantee you that's gonna make the system go ahead. Because the Wii U, like Nintendo was putting out great first party stuff on it, but it couldn't carry the system at all.
So I guess here's a weird ultimatum question I thought of before. Since Nintendo doesn't seem to want to cater to third parties at least as hard as the competition, do you think, I guess, a better move in the future is just to make a really cheap box, let's say 100 or 150, that focuses solely on like Nintendo's first parties and just like cut out the rest because that would just a hypothetical, I guess. Because if the problem people see is too much money and not enough content, then I guess the thing would either be have more content or lower the price. Just a thought.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and basically they said that the NX will probably need to be a success because if they continue making bombs like this, Nintendo might as well just go the Sega route at some point, and I do not want that to happen. I don't know.
I was going to say, I don't think that's a winning strategy, and something that I think Matt disagrees with me on this in the past when I've kind of gone in this direction before. As long as Nintendo is making a profit and building their position, or at least maintaining their position and not continually losing position, I don't think there would be any reason for some like tectonic retreat like that. Like, why would you retreat tenfold when you're hanging in there? Hey, I'm not saying Nintendo's winning any console war or whatever, but the console war is kind of an imaginary thing. Like, there's no war per se. They're just a company and they're trying to make money, and they are in competition with other companies for your resource dollars, for your money, for your gaming money. But there would be no reason for them to throw in the towel when they're still profitable. I grant you they are up and down in that department, but they've had we also have to remember, Nintendo is always one to surprise you on that front. I'm not trying to be a fluffer here. They've had some really amazing successes lately in some senses with the Pokemon Go phenomenon. They're set for good things with the Mario Run thing on smartphones. I grant you, this is them leaving their home turf and moving on to the smartphones. That's completely like kind of almost antithetical to where they were a couple of years ago. But they're evolving, and I would say, why would that would be a de-evolution in every sense for them to go like what you're suggesting, like some kind of like really bare bones Nintendo box, because that would be throwing in the towel. That would be saying we're done as a company. We're accepting that we can't make money, which would be a silly thing for them to do. As long as they have profitability to some degree, they should keep throwing things at the wall and hoping for the next Wii or the next Nintendo Entertainment System, because this company's got staying power. They've got staying power and they've got big bank reserves. So why wouldn't they keep trying to develop? I mean, why wouldn't they just go into VR if nothing else? Why go backwards? Why not go forwards? Go into VR, go into like something else where the market's headed. I just wouldn't see the de-evolution as their smartest move.
Funnily enough, you brought up VR. I really feel that Nintendo franchises are going to do well with it. And they say, but it's not realistic. Exactly. That's the point. Because if you go with like VR stuff, it's generally better if you have something like very stylized, something like, what was the latest Legend of Zelda game that's coming out on the NX?
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild, that's the one. Now imagine playing that on fucking VR while you're playing from Link's perspective or something like that. I think those could, but I doubt this is supporting VR. I doubt it.
Yeah, no, I don't
It
think so.
is definitely not. Yeah, I would bet all the cards against it. They're not ready for that. You know, they're going to be behind the game on that. They are. But I mean, who knows if VR is going to be a splash in the pan?
Yeah, that's as a developer, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I'll tell you, VR, it ain't doing so good right now.
How long have the VR headsets been on the market? Like PSVR just barely came out, so I wouldn't feel it's fair to judge that too harshly. But the Oculus Rift came out officially this year sometime, and have any others?
HTC Vive came out, and I actually prefer HTC Vive. I've tried both of them, and that feels like a better realized system. But here's the thing, all of the headsets that are out in the market today are exceptionally rushed. Like, they are not there yet. I think they just kind of rushed into market to get it there first, and I think that's going to hurt VR in the long run.
Yeah, it very well could. I see exactly what you're saying. I mean, you know, a lot of us here are saying things like to each other, like, I'm not buying it yet. I'm waiting to see. And everybody
that's the issue, yeah.
You know, and everybody shares your opinion. A lot of us suspect that it's like the first version of everything. Who has an iPhone 1 anymore? Everybody knows how this works now. It's only early adopters who buy Apple Watch version 1. You know, it's like, this is silly. You have to be rich. It's not going to be the final version. They're going to release a new version in like 8 months. It's going to have upgraded features. So the VR thing, it exactly could be that. And Nintendo said it as much that they don't think they're ready for it. They don't think the market's ready for it. And I think they're also admitting, like, well, we don't have anything ready for it. Like, you know, we're not.
And the thing with VR is, like, it's probably going to be making like the kind of experiences that you and I probably don't like. It's going to be like a very passive experience where you're kind of experiencing something. Like one of the ones on the PlayStation was where you're like in this cage and a shark attacks you. But that's it. You're just kind of living that area. I think VR will be really helpful in things like, you know, education and safety, things like that, to basically kind of teach people who are doing this stuff on like a real basis, because I've used it. And I think it's got amazing potential. I just don't know if it's in games or not.
Yeah, the only thing Nintendo could possibly do to like retrofit the Switch as VR is maybe come out with
Mega cardboard.
Yeah, I don't even know if the Switch might be too heavy to just stick that on your face.
Yeah.
So maybe rather than like glue this 5-pound thing to your face and then like break your neck in half, maybe they like come out with a screen that has like a wire that connects to your Switch, and then like you put that on your face instead. It'd be really convoluted, but that'd be the only way they could do it.
The horsepower.
Oh yeah.
I doubt. Yeah.
Sorry. It wouldn't be the horsepower. It'd just be like, the Google Cardboard and the Samsung thing where it's just one screen, but it switches, like it cuts the screen in half, so you have one for your one eye and one for the other, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It probably
All
wouldn't
I'm saying is,
do that
anytime you guys want to come down here to Philadelphia, I've got my Virtual Boy right here, and I've got a roll of duct tape. We can get Nintendo VR going anytime you want. I've even got the battery pack for my VR, for my VR, for my Game Boy, my Virtual Boy. I can't even talk. So, you know, this is going to be like a very, very sophisticated experience. I welcome you to my home in Philadelphia anytime. I'll get you set.
What does it take? Like 4D batteries?
Yeah, it's like six. It's like six.
All I remember about the system was angry video game birds screaming at it and putting duct tape over his head.
It's a topic for another podcast, but it's not nearly as bad as people lead you to believe. But it has.
Oh, shut the fuck up! I've tried it. It's horrible,
dude. It's actually got a couple good games on it. They are in black and red. They look crazy when you look at them. But the Wario game on there and a couple of the Mario stuff on there are actually not the worst games you ever played. You can play them on an emulator if you don't believe them. The problem is the library is one of the smallest libraries of all time. Like literally one of the smallest. Yeah, it's pretty small. Even if you get all the Japanese games, it's like around 20 games. So it's a very small library.
Does it hurt your eyes?
It doesn't hurt my
headaches. It most certainly does.
I've never had the headaches. I've never had the problems with it, but I don't play it for more than an hour at a time. I'll say that. So You know.
Still, that's longer than I
I
thought.
played for 15 minutes and I had issues. Like, what the fuck is this?
Oh man, really? Oh, that's a shame to hear. I've never had that stuff happen to me. I have one sitting 2 rooms away from me here. I play it sometimes. I don't play it a lot, but that's because I only got like 5 games for it. So don't have a lot to do with it. I'm just waiting for the homebrew market to kick in for Virtual Boy one of these
Oh
days.
my gosh.
Waiting for it,
20
baby.
years and waiting.
I know, right?
I'm still kind of intrigued by the whole homebrew market itself. Like, they're still making games for like Dreamcast and stuff, and I go, dude, like that's developing just for passion, dude. Like, they're not selling it or anything. They're just kind of uploading it online. It's kind of like those guys who made like a Pokemon Uranium Edition or something like that.
Yeah.
Which was like this Pokemon game. Yeah, they just kind of upload for free.
It's
I don't know, man.
It's
Maybe they
bigger
can
than
pull-
ever, man. It's bigger than ever. Like, there's a really good magazine from the UK called Retro Gamer Magazine that I'm a big fan of, and they always profile home brewers, and it's just stunning the stuff people are doing. I mean, they had an article last month about a guy that he released a game for the Commodore 64 in the 1980s on the Commodore computer, and he knew the game. This is here's the nutshell of the story. It's amazing to me. He knew the game he released was buggy because it was rushed to market, and this is in the 1980s. And he recently just rebuilt the whole source code of the game on a compiler and fixed the game and re-released it out onto the internet. Like, it's like 30-year later patch. It probably would be the world record for the longest patch of all time. Like, that it was like, he's sorry. He wants the world to know he's sorry. He knows the game was kind of broken when it was released. Now you can finally play it in its correct form. I was like, awesome.
Let me guess, it wasn't even a good game despite the glitches anyway.
He said that the game actually had a pretty cool, that's why he did it. The game had a pretty cool concept to it. I can't really describe it. It's not worth getting into, but that was why he bothered to do it, because he always felt bad that something he worked hard on and wanted the world to love.
So he was righting his wrongs, yeah.
Yeah. And he had to rebuild the source code. Like, he was like not even able to get it running again. So he had to like put it together from like extracting pieces of the file from copies of the game that existed. I don't know. It was really crazy. The fact that I think it took him like 6 years or something to do it. It was pretty amazing. And I know like 20 people will play it, but I was like, you're like one of my heroes. I was like, that is just amazing to me.
What was the name of the game?
I'd have to look it up. I apologize.
Okay.
And they copied the magazine downstairs. So, it was on Commodore 64, and you could probably Google game patched after 30 years or something to that effect, or repaired or something. But I'll try to remember and put it in the comments on the blog post. So,
I think I'll just ask.
I think that's it.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
You go first, because I was just gonna round it out.
More to the effect of what you were saying, like independent game, like not independent really, even just game development in general. Like, I think it's such a weird market because in general, everybody who's working there, like the artists, the programmers, the designers, like they can get a better job outside the game industry that, like, has better hours and pays more. But everybody who generally kind of works there works just because they're passionate. And that's what, like, that, in general, like, whenever I'm talking to people who are developers, they're just my favorite people to talk to for that reason. They just do that just because they're passionate about it.
I totally agree. You preaching to the choir here, man. I'm humongous. I'm a humongous into the whole scene. I love reading about these people. I find them to be super intriguing and beyond smart. That's what I really like about them. Like, just beyond smart. They're not lowly console gamers like me. That's like, I love my Smash Brothers. So.
Yeah, it's crazy what extents people go to for games. But
Yes,
I think we'll just about round out the podcast. One last question I'll ask Harsh. What would you want out of the Switch? What would you want Nintendo to do that would make you develop for the Switch? Besides, I guess, hardware, since let's say that's determined already.
Well, all things considered, maybe if they say, hey, we're giving you like maybe the majority cut of the sale or something like that. Like, taking a
Good luck. Good luck.
Let's just say it. Like, I'm gonna say it. They're saying, here's the money. That I think is the only thing that's gonna probably, get people to develop for it. Because the way it seems, it's, you either, like, the kind of games you're making, you probably have to change it quite a bit for it to be on there. So unless there's like a monetary incentive to offset the cost for that, I don't think anybody's bothering.
Well, I mean, what would get you to develop for it? Like, what would make you interested to develop for it?
I think he said it. The dollars. I think he's talking about
Dollar bills.
Yeah. No, but cool. If a lot of people play it, and like if there's a huge market for it, and like if people are buying independent games, and like they're proven to like basically just work there, I think that would be the reason I'd have to make for it. And like just the easy, like if it's easier for me to kind of make a game and port it over to it quite easily, unlike the Wii U, which was a bitch to develop for apparently. If that's the case, I think that's going to be like, as long as it's easy to do, I think a lot more people are going to be doing it. And I think as long as they don't make it complicated beyond belief.
Yep, sounds about right. I
Good
guess,
answer.
are there any final words you want to say before we round up the podcast?
Don't fuck it up, Nintendo.
Seconded, and the meeting is adjourned. Seconded.
That's a great way to end. I'm Matt, also known as the Mango Viking. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Unoclay, where can people find you?
You know where you can find me, dogs.
Damn, it feel good to be a gangster.
Yeah, that's right. Down in the hood. Down in the
Get out of
field.
here.
Yeah, so you can find me on my IGN. I'm one of the last remaining holdouts over on my IGN. I'm still Unoclay1 over there. Level 30 and counting, baby.
You're the only one on my GN, and yet you still don't comment on my blog posts.
I know.
That's sad.
I feel narcissistic commenting on the podcast I'm on. It's
I know.
It's kind of weird.
I haven't even looked into the news feed to see what everyone else is posting for their blogs. I'm bad.
Pretty much the only
everyone pay attention to me, I'm just not going to pay attention to you. Why is
The
that
only-
page?
Yeah,
So bad.
definition of a dying community, isn't it? Like the only thing in the newsfeed is pretty much poor pig, like posting like link to everything under the sun. Or like that's literally the only thing there.
Poor.
That's just sad, dude.
Yeah,
That's just sad.
I know, but I'm still there reading, baby. So you can catch me there, and you can catch me on this podcast.
Cool. And Harsh, where can people find you?
I used to be on my IGN, but you can go find me on Twitter. I'm never there anymore. But yeah, just go and find me on Twitter. It's the game dev, but the H and the E in the is transposed, so it's the game dev.
Yeah, you're still being edgy from your teenage years.
Oh
see.
yeah, that edge.
Don't cut yourself
edge.
on it.
I'll be sure to.
All right, and wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on everywhere on the internet. We'll see you next time and leave gaming to Nintendo.
Don't fuck it up.